This week on the 716 Sports Podcast, we're going to answer some questions that we created for ourselves to distract ourselves from the meaningless void that is the Buffalo Sabres' continued fall into further and further misery. The Bandits are still good, and we take some time to talk to Buffalo Bandits forward and face-off specialist Chase Fraser. And as always, subscribe, like our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, wherever you find it. Share it with your friends on Facebook, on Twitter, and all around the world here as we bring you another exciting edition of the 716 Sports Podcast. And welcome to the 716 Sports Podcast here, recording on Monday, March 4th, on the heels of whatever that second period was between the Buffalo Sabres and the Edmonton Oilers. So we could spend the rest of our lives talking about the same stuff that we've talked about. But to save us from that, Bill has taken his time today to create a list of 20 questions that we will at random select and discuss here on the podcast today. Justin has pulled up a random number generator, and we have a list of numbers 1 through 20, and we are going to start. So, Bill, are we going to go around the room here, or what do you want to do with these?
If you guys want to generate them, if you want to pick them, I'll take them off. I just after watching somebody literally block their own shot tonight, I have no desire to talk about current events. These are fairly evergreen. Some of them have nothing to do with sports. We're all over the map with these. So,
cool. So
whoever wants to get going, go ahead and I'll ask them, and then we'll talk
why don't you go first, sir?
Justin, using technology. And there he goes.
Four.
What position group should the Bills focus on most in free agency?
The offensive line.
Go on. They already have.
I mean, I don't care who they sign for the receivers. Josh Allen can't throw at the receiver if he's running for his life all day long.
So, I've been thinking about this one a lot, obviously.
Right.
What else? And my conclusion is I kind of fall with you, Justin, because I do think that the wide receivers and tight ends can be addressed in the draft. Very, very deep. A lot of prospects, and we'll get to those in due time. But there are guys that you can grab in the second, third, fourth rounds that are potentially starters day one, which I know is a story we've heard before. But it seems to me like offensive line is the spot where even if you're going to have to overpay for a couple of these guys, this is where the proven starters. There's really not, other than Jonah Williams out of Alabama, you're taking a chance at 9 if you stay at 9 to let him come to you.
Right.
And I'm not entirely sure. Things obviously get screwed up once people fall in love with quarterbacks and want to make their moves. But to me, yeah, I would say I agree. I think it's the offensive line.
So is Paradis the guy that you're targeting? Or I admittedly am ignorant when it comes to what free agent. We said free agents, not draft, right?
Yeah.
What free agent offensive linemen are out there? So I know Paradis. I know he's kind of the big one,
the golden
big
goose,
kahuna. But I don't know if he's even that good. I'm not saying that either way. But who else is out there?
This is good. The New England tackle whose name is currently escaping me. He's coming in.
Cheater McCheatface.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's him.
That guy.
Yeah, love that guy. As I'm desperately trying to pull up somebody here. So
who did Carolina release recently?
Doesn't matter who it is. That's who's coming.
Oh, there we go. He's coming here.
Khalil. So
easy.
He's a sure thing. There's. Of course, I listened to a podcast today, and there were lots of options. So the guy I'm thinking, Trent Brown is who I'm thinking of. Thank you. Trent Brown is one of the more legitimate guys. He's played left tackle. He's probably been a little bit overrated, and when you leave New England, things don't always seem to work out. But it'd be nice to grab one of these guys for once from them instead of giving all of our guys up to them, to the Patriots. So that's the one guy I was looking at. There's a couple others out there. Chance Warmack is a guy that he's getting a little bit older, but he could play some guard. They've already filled the center position, so there's possibilities out there. Spencer Long, you sign him as a center, he may end up playing guard as well.
Isn't Paradis a center too?
I think so.
I think just having that flexibility. I mean, Long is the type of guy where I think he can play any of the 3 interior positions. So you have a lot of flexibility available to you. Darrell Williams was the other guy I was thinking of. Mm-hmm. He's also Carolina. He's a right tackle, but
he'll be here for a visit.
So these are guys that you could grab almost anybody and improve this offensive line. So you don't necessarily need to be breaking the bank to sign these guys, but with that cap flexibility, I know it's strategic in the way that we're going about this, but I do think that offensive line is the way to go.
Yeah. You can always draft Noah Fant or whoever in that spot. If you load him on the line, you can get yourself some weapons.
Sure. Yeah. Everybody's fallen in love with DJ Metcalf.
Can I have a...
He's very straight.
So,
very straight line runner.
So...
Yeah, the agility, Tom Brady scored better than him at the cones or something.
Don't fall in love with.
There's a reason that
workouts.
we're all just talking about DK Metcalf now.
Cool.
Like, no one talked about him when he was playing football. Because I hate to burst everyone's bubble. He's not great at, like, actual football. He's just great at looking good.
Ole Miss didn't matter this year. They were on a bowl ban anyway.
So, like, there's a lot of receivers for teams that didn't matter who can, run good routes.
Like Zay Jones.
Yeah.
Coastal Carolina or something, right?
East Carolina.
That's what I said. It's on the East Coast. Hello. No, I'm just kidding. That's what I said.
So, we'll see. But I do think that wide receiver tight end is that there's so much, you might as well let it come to you. Don't force the issue this season.
Everyone's going to jump all over DK Metcalf, and I'm not convinced you can run a route that's not a go route.
You could always just go defensive line, too, because there's a whole lot of pass rushers.
Very defense-heavy draft.
Very attractive up in the top 10. All right.
Number me.
We hit the random generator. And Justin hits it multiple times, which is cool.
And then it lands on the same number.
And then it lands
Number 3, Bill.
Number 3. So, is it championship or bust for the Buffalo Buttes this season? They're going to be hosting. They are the 2 seed. They're going to be hosting the Boston Pride this weekend in the playoffs.
No, I don't think so. I mean, depends on what you mean by championship or bust. Is that their team's mentality?
I mean, was this team built?
This team was built to win a championship.
This team
absolutely.
In the off season seemed to be built to win a championship. As kind of, it was very splashy, and then everything blew up mid-season. There were legitimate struggles. The team was not performing up to snuff, and now 7-game winning streak. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, they just lost yesterday to snap that winning streak.
So they were at 7 and then or 6 or 7 and then lost, but still got the home game,
right? Which
was big. So
which they were not in position to do before they changed coaches by any means.
So now with Cody McCormick as the head coach, should this team be favored to go into the playoffs and win a championship, even if they have to go on the road?
I think when the season started, there were 2 teams that were built to be dominant. One of those was the Buttes, and the other was the Whitecaps, who have a very similar level of elite international talent, just all up
Olympian
and down that lineup.
Yeah,
just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that not getting back to the Isabel Cup would have been a failure for this team, and it still could be if they lose to Boston at home on Saturday. A team that plays them very well, a team that they have a lot of history with in the playoffs, a team that took them to overtime in the Isabel Cup semifinals at Harbor Center last season. I think not making the Isabel Cup is a huge disappointment for this team, but I think if Minnesota and Buffalo both get there, that game is up in the air, and they're both loaded. I think if you ask the players and ask the coaches and you ask the group that made the decision to fire Seelig and Mooney at 3-3 because they thought this team was head and shoulders above the rest of the league and should have been first place running away with it, that they would say it's championship or bust. I think there's no shame in just getting there and duking out with the Minnesota team they've had some incredible games with, but I don't know. Those 2 teams are just so good.
What are you busting though? Like, they already have a lot of the league's best players.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just get rid of them because they didn't get a chance.
It's a little different than like the Sabres, though. Like, if the Sabres made the playoffs, then we'll be like, oh, it's championship or bust, because all those guys are locked up to multi-year contracts. All the NWHL players are on 1-year deals, and we've already seen with Casorso and Edney that because of the financial support and ability of these women to continue to play professionally full-time, which is, for a lot of them, very much non-existent, that they work other jobs, they travel down from Ontario, wherever, to play on weekends. You're never sure who is going to be here next year. And maybe it's only 1 or 2 players, but if they lose an Olympian, or, I mean, who knows if Sabados and Hensley both come back next year, or if Falzer and Cameronese are both back next year, if any of them have Olympic commitments or other commitments, or decide to pursue other things in their time. If they lose enough pieces, it could be a very different team next year. And yeah, they're still loaded. They're still very good if they keep all the local players, Skamura, Elia, all of them, but I don't know. This might be the only run for this iteration of the team.
I feel like they add more firepower because the Pagulas have more resources than the rest of the league does. They can house players in the Harbor Center. They could probably offer. I don't know what the salary cap is like, but I'm sure they can offer bonuses that other teams can't offer, and that they can attract players from elsewhere.
In my opinion, I think they beat Boston and then flip a coin against Minnesota.
Really 50-50.
Yeah.
Is the championship, is it home ice this year, or is it
It'll be
neutral site?
No, it hasn't been officially announced, but I believe it's just going to be in Minnesota.
Minnesota, no matter what.
Well, if Minnesota wins.
Sure.
Minnesota.
Okay.
So Minnesota, for those of you who don't follow the structure, there's 5 teams this year for the first time.
Right, and they're the
there's a
expansion
play-in
team.
game Thursday between Connecticut and the Riveters for the right to play Minnesota.
Got it.
And then the winners would advance. If the Riveters or Whale went to Minnesota and beat the Whitecaps, then Buffalo could host the championship with a win.
Got it. All right. Good discussion there, boys. Let's hit the random number generator 4 or 6 times again. See what happens.
You get 3 times every time.
3 times every time. I love
And half
you.
the time it doesn't
You gotta
change.
have
And
it.
it gives you a number that we already had. And
You
then
got to have a system.
Number 14.
What should the Sabres do if they win the draft lottery? So they'll have 2 picks still. We don't know at this point whether it would be the Sharks or the Blues. It appears that the Ducks will be getting the more advantageous one of those. But if the Sabres were to win the draft lottery, Jack Hughes, center, U.S. development team, consensus number 1. 2 and 3, a couple of European kids that are really strong wings. Very tempting. And then there's also additional, the U.S. development team is providing many of the top picks. I think there's 3 or 4 of the kids that it could potentially be top picks, which is
There's
always
some kid called,
intriguing
like
to me.
Matthew Austins or something. That
Yeah.
is-
But there's also, this team, I don't think this team needs another center. I really don't. And I don't know
No,
the value
they-
of taking a center number 1 and then trying to switch him to wing.
You've
So-
already got one center that you've done that with Sam Reinhart.
So to me, I think it would be, despite the ability that Hughes has, I think it would be very attractive to trade down, get yourself an NHL ready, not ready wing. Get yourself a good NHL wing, get yourself another pick, move down and still get a good prospect. Not maybe like the elite of the elite, but a good prospect. This team has so many holes, they need to stop just trying to
Right,
plug
there's-
them one at a time.
Right. They're lacking secondary scoring. They need help on defense. Right now, probably the best position they're in, position-wise, is center, so they don't need to take a center number 1 overall.
I'm literally like throwing my hands at you guys because I'm of the mindset that converting a center to wing is incredibly easy compared to converting a wing to center. And are we convinced that Middlestat is the second line center? Are we convinced of that? Because I'm not.
Tonight was
So
his best game in a long
It was
time.
great, but so why not bring Hughes in and then Middlestat play on his wing? Or like I just don't.
Are we just going to keep getting centers and then have nobody that they can
But look
pass
at.
to just finish
I mean,
for?
if you look at
Hello,
Edmonton,
Well,
As
we
I
have
say, if you
3 of
look at
those guys in
Edmonton-
Rochester. We don't even want to call them up here. So
I just think that I think Hughes is so talented that it would be silly to move on from that opportunity to have him. Like,
So-
I'd rather have a plethora of talented centers
So
than
who do
trade
you-
down and pick at 15. No, I'm not
So-
interested.
So who would you say you would convert to wing from center?
I don't think you have to at this point. You can just have Eichel, Middlestat, Hughes. I mean, all those big cup teams, the Pittsburghs and the Chicagos, were 3 lines deep with just great center depth.
Sure.
And who are we going to kick out of that? Like the
So
Larsons
Rodriguez
of the world.
plays wing now
Rodriguez
instead of-
plays wing like he does half the time anyway. Sam continues to play wing, and he's
Yep.
having his best season as a pro. And then if you really decide that you want to play someone else as third line center, I'm sure Hughes or Middlestat can figure it out.
I feel like centermen are quarters, wingers are dimes, or in this just in the forward group. And you're saying that because we have too many quarters, we should take dimes, and I don't agree because I think that they're more valuable. Now, maybe a defenseman like Dahlin is $1 because that's so rare to find. But in this situation, I just think centers are so much more valuable and so much more versatile that I think it's a no-brainer to take Hughes. That's my thought.
Especially now, in the way the league is now, you can use 3 scoring lines. Most teams have 3 scoring lines, and they got the one fourth line checking energy line. And Twin Sabres are good. They had 3 solid scoring lines with 3 really good centers. They have Briere, Jury, and Roy. Why not try to do it again?
Yeah. And having a second and third line like that makes the life of Jack Eichel so much easier because you can't just play your top D pair against him night in, night out,
I
every
think if
shift.
Devin Blank, you take Jack Hughes in a second.
So the unanimous number 2 player in this draft is named Capo Caco.
Nope, don't like him.
And
Don't know anything about him.
He's a right
No, I'm just
wing,
kidding.
but his name is Capo Caco. So just consider that when you're thinking about it. But like I said, there are 3 of these top 5 picks. Matt Boldy is a left wing. He's in the U.S. program. And then Trevor Zagris, who is the second center, he's also in the program. So there's a lot of talent coming out of the U.S. right now. Pretty cool to see. But so a little bit of a split opinion, I would say, on that one. We'll see what they do. This is obviously a pipe dream, but after tonight's loss, we're a little bit closer.
Keep losing.
Go ahead and hit the
Number.
button there, just 10.
For Mr. Bermel. Loves number 4.
And 3 and
Go for it.
numero 8.
So our buddy Nick was confronted with a 90-minute wait at a restaurant last Friday. Would you ever wait 90 minutes to sit down in a restaurant? Now, this is to eat. This was just to get a table or just to be able to put his order in or to have his order ready.
If I walk in and the wait's over an hour, I'm probably going somewhere else.
You're an hour.
Yeah.
Now, they had a bar. He chose not. He ended up going to a different place and getting what he wanted.
No, I'm
Protecting
probably
the innocent by saying what he was,
so this has happened to me
going.
at some establishments, right? So I've been to. I'm going to use the names because I'm not insulting you. I've been to the Brick House on Maple, and I walk in.
Oh, they
and
got good food there.
This is a lie. I'm doing this backwards. I went to Red Robin.
Yep.
And they had the hour and 15-minute wait. So I went next door to the Brick House and waited 10 minutes.
Yep.
And time is money to me. And I'm good with sitting at a restaurant for 2 hours and eating, but to sit there for an hour to wait to eat, even if there is a bar, I don't need to drink $8 beers to kill the time. So I'm not interested in anything over an hour.
I 100% agree. I'm 30 to 45 minutes unless it's like something, unless I'm traveling somewhere and like it's a place that I can't eat at here. I'd be like tempted to wait anything.
It's French
more than
Laundry.
that. Yeah, like it had to be quite something for me to want to wait that
Pretty sure
long.
they don't just walk in.
I'm pretty sure you
Anyway.
can't just walk in and get a table there as an aside.
Was it Chick-fil-A?
I did wait in line at the.
I have physically
Chick-fil-A
stood in line for half an hour at
It was
Chick-fil-A.
about a half-hour wait.
Why?
Chick-fil-A. I had to go pick something up in Cheektowaga, and if I'm gonna be forced to go to Cheektowaga for any reason,
I'm going to go to Chick-fil-A.
is it involving 2 hours? Then I need to at least stop at Chick-fil-A and make myself happy. And I got a spicy, and it was great.
It's just a chicken sandwich.
So yeah, Nick did end up leaving said establishment. I'll tell you off air where it was and why he decided to do that. But
See, I
just wasn't sure. If I don't have the kids and it's just my wife and I out on a date, I mean, an hour is pushing it, but like an hour and a half, I don't know. Like if we're just trying to
Depends
enjoy
on where you
ourselves,
are,
yeah.
what the mood is, what kind of bar they
Right.
have.
And let's be
Right,
real.
Is
I
there
think
something to
if there's
watch
the
on in the
bar
bar?
itself
If
is
there's a
big
90-minute
factor.
wait,
Yeah.
the bar's asses and elbows, 100%. Right?
Sh-
If there's
I mean,
90 minutes
yeah,
worth of
you're
people
probably
waiting,
right.
you're
You
not
would think.
getting a seat at the bar.
Right.
I mean, I've never seen a 90-minute wait anywhere around here. I mean, that's something I've seen
Well.
like when I lived in California, but that's not something I've seen around
was-
here.
Where was this?
I'm not telling you right now.
We're
I
going
will
to talk
tell
about
you
this off air, and then we're all going to tweet it.
and that's there you go. I don't want to put out there
Why not?
Was it
because I
great
don't wanna
Buffalo
embarrass
Bills
myself.
travel sponsor, Rachel's
the thing is-
Mediterranean Bar and Grill?
The thing is this, if
It
there's
was-
a 90-minute wait somewhere, that means they've got to have good food. People are willing to wait 90 minutes for it.
It was Blue Robin Egg. Why don't you go hit that, and we'll go on to the next question.
Is this question for you, Bill? For yourself?
No,
What do you
for
mean
Justin.
no?
You wrote the questions.
I wrote the questions. I can't. I cannot influence.
He's not
I'll
one of
chime
us.
in here and
No,
there.
he's-
Number 16.
One of us. 16. What's the world's best animal?
Ooh.
Velociraptors.
That I don't think they're around anymore.
I gotta like giraffes, man. They can reach whatever they want. They can get that shit.
Giraffes are just long
That sounded-
I
horses.
like
Way-
giraffes. They can get that shit.
They can reach whatever they want
So-
and get that shit.
Just like that commercial where they say the 10-foot basketball hoop is for
No,
rookies.
I gotta go with real answer. Spider monkeys.
Okay.
I want one so bad.
Just want to pet.
Every movie like The Hangover. Never see a movie with the monkey like it's a bro monkey. I want a monkey so bad. So I'm gonna go with
But you want a bro monkey.
yeah.
You want a monkey that'll wear some shades, maybe slam a couple back.
So
with
you basically just want Curious
Rip a
George.
bogey. Yeah.
Smoking monkey, pretty cool.
basically.
I got one.
I'm a solid vote for capybara over here.
Capybara.
They're just big like
Things.
South American dogs, and they're super
Yeah.
chill.
Okay, I like it, Mike.
Oh, you're making me think of an answer for this, aren't you?
It's not a
great
hard
question.
fucking
It's
question.
an animal. This is the one where I want you to put less thought into it.
Speak from the heart.
You can say like
Oh.
gremlin or something.
Oh no, I've been seeing these dogs. They're Leon burgers. They're huge.
Okay,
They're apparently gentle giant dogs, so they seem like they'd be a lot of fun.
there you go. So a gentle giant dog.
Yeah,
Big dogs are fun.
I'll allow it.
Big dogs are fun.
Stefan.
I got to give it to dolphins because I've had encounters with them
Oh, yeah.
and having them
Should pet
like
one.
propel you through the water.
And they'll hump you.
I mean, giraffes can get that shit, and dolphins will hump you. That's all I've heard Justin say tonight.
Dolphins will also get that shit.
Dolphin.
All right.
The greatest
No.
Onion article of all time is when dolphins get
So,
opposable thumbs.
real story,
Humanity
out-
says, "Oh shit."
Out into the water, right? You swim out there, and they tell you to like keep your legs straight.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there's a dolphin against your feet, and
Oh,
it
wow.
starts swimming, and the only thing left in the water are your ankles because they're so. There's really
Strong.
it's
And
just that
you up.
experience
Yeah.
was phenomenal. And no, none of them humped me. Maybe it would have been better if they did, but none of them humped me.
Pretty sure
On
it's
that
whale's
note, number
territory.
me.
That really said a lot about your guys' psyches.
Number 2.
Justin started it.
Yeah. What is your favorite? Oh no, sorry.
2.
Should the Sabres attempt to schedule more Friday and Saturday night games in order to avoid more back-to-back situations? It's been a marketing ploy that we've heard over the past few years that the Sabres tend to lead the league in back-to-backs. They've, I think, had the 1 or 2 Friday night home games this season. Many of their Saturday games have been 1:00 games.
Absolutely
Just like what they had last
do
week.
more Friday night games.
Friday nights used to be a thing, right?
Yeah.
And I know that it's not a huge night to play in the NHL, but why not make it a thing? I think it would be a great
I
way
think
to start
that
the weekend.
the way that downtown is constructed,
Now,
that the
yes.
arena is the center of the area that it's cool to hang out in. So do a game. People will go down from work. They'll hit the restaurants around or the bars around. They'll go to the game. And then everyone will just go filter back through there, filter down to Chippewa. Everyone just takes the subway down to games half the time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think it works out well. I'm not as much of a fan of Saturday games because that's allowed the Buttes and the Bandits to have that day for Bandits have all the Saturday home games and the Buttes to have Saturday afternoon games with not having to compete for parking and everything like that too, which
For
is
the most
nice
part.
for cohabitation of the limited space that exists between KeyBank Center and Harbor Center. But I am fully on board for making Friday night hockey games a thing. I think it's the perfect time. Everyone wants to go out to happy hour and chill after a long week of work, and theoretically the team will be worth watching at some point. So I'm all for Friday home games.
You know what I want? I want afternoon Saturday games followed by a beach game in the same building. Hang out and stay.
That was fun. It was fun.
They
reverse
didn't
it though.
reverse
Instead of
it last
Buttes,
time.
right? Instead of Buttes, Sabres do Sabres Buttes. You get a lot more people sticking around.
Well, the Buttes
Precisely.
game was the game that was close for the home team, so they wanted to make sure people felt the need to stay for the next one. Sabres come out and lose by 7. Everyone's losing. Everyone's leaving.
Nah,
Well-
people will stay for the free game.
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you buy one ticket and you get both games, right?
I
Yes.
get angry on a Friday night when I can't find a hockey game because the NHL does not usually have like a full slate on Fridays, and they don't always have games on TV.
Yeah, I mean, so-
I am married at home with kids, whatever. Like, I don't go out on Friday night, so I do love going downtown on a Friday night because I don't have to work in the morning. But like, I want Sabres on TV every Friday night.
Yeah, and Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday are obviously the bigger days. Sunday is fairly wide, and I know that Mondays,
Sabres don't play
Mondays,
many
Wednesdays,
Sunday
Fridays.
games too.
No.
I mean, the NHL as a whole doesn't play many Sunday games, especially early in the season.
Yeah, but
to avoid
Sunday's more
competition with the
popular than.
NFL.
There's 2 games that we're recording on a Monday night. There's 2 games on a Monday night.
Yeah.
Usually on Wednesday nights now they tend to have
Middle
a
of the
limited
week
schedule
is
because they're really
huge.
pushing that NBC doubleheader
Mm-hmm.
thing that they've been doing now.
And during the fall, I don't know why the NHL is playing games on Saturday afternoons competing with college football. That feels so dumb. Like, I'm not a college football fan, but it just seems silly to be
Well,
competing
college
with them.
football's all day
Right, so don't have a Saturday afternoon game at
But
1
the
o'clock.
the biggest games are,
or night games.
well, maybe the single biggest game.
It depends.
But there's a lot
It's-
of big
the
afternoon
3.
games.
Yeah, I mean,
Just don't compete with them. Play on Friday night when there is no college football.
Yeah, I would
agree with
Like,
that.
Just don't compete with
I
them.
think that at least for the first couple of months, and the Canadian teams can always have hockey night in Canada on
Yeah, but
Saturdays. That's
yeah.
fine.
They're playing unopposed up there. They could play whenever they want.
Sure.
You're
People
not
watch
sure
it.
the Toronto Varsity Blues aren't drawing huge.
The Argos don't compete with them well either.
No, the Argos don't compete with anybody at this point. All right, Justin, hit the thing. Doobie-doobie-doo.
Whose turn is it?
Yours.
Mine?
Yeah.
15.
What were your thoughts about the report indicating that the two oldest running backs signed in the NFL currently are Chris Ivory and LaShawn McCoy? I
Wow,
may be
this feels
leading
like-
the witnesses here
I
slightly
didn't hear that.
when I
This,
wrote this, but yes, the two
This
oldest.
feels like a conversation we've had already about LaShawn McCoy slowing down with age and Chris Ivory just being not much more than a bowling ball.
So the Bills
I am-
have the two oldest currently under contract. If Frank Gore signed somewhere, awesome, love it. But right now, the two oldest with guarantee, with a contract heading into the next calendar year are Chris Ivory and LaShawn McCoy. Interesting, right? I'm going to try and pull up the list for you.
I'm
guys
not
so you can
interested.
see
I'm
it.
mad, but that's besides
It's
the
such
I mean-
a horrible allocation.
I mean,
of
running
assets that
running
I
back
tell you,
is
it just-
one of the most
ugh.
easily replaceable positions in the league, but still, you're talking about McCoy, who's got how many yards from scrimmage? Something like 16,000 or something like that in his
so
career.
much tread off the tires
Yeah.
at this point.
He's put in a lot of miles. I mean, he's put in a lot of work at this point in his career. And Ivory, at 30 years old, being a big physical back, that's not going to last too much longer either. I mean, you need some young blood in there. You need a younger back who can play most downs. But I just don't really like the fact that they've got the oldest running backs in the league, a terrible offensive line, and this will just keep going and going.
I don't put
on.
it all on Shady this past season.
No.
I think a lot of it had to do with that crappy O-line. He lost three guys on the left side that were all Pro Bowl players.
But he may have lost. He lost half a step, but that offensive line regressed badly, so that didn't help him any at all. That made him look a lot worse than he would have looked anyway.
Are there any shifty utility backs in the league currently or previously that you would say have still done it at his age? Like, how old is Darren Sproles? And I'm not putting Sproles on the same
Well,
level
Sproles
as
can't stay
McCoy.
healthy either.
Correct. But I'm just saying, like, have there been running backs in there, that were 32, 33?
How old was Barry Sanders when he retired?
I think he was 29.
But I'm just
So
curious
maybe-
if there
maybe
have
not.
been
I
backs
believe
that
he
in
was
their
29.
young 30s who have been able to
Injury-riddled
consistent-
Adrian Peterson had to come back. He had a great season this year.
Yeah, but he
he doesn't play
he's
the
a
same
north-south
role
runner.
as
Yeah.
McCoy. Like, McCoy's the east south. What a moron. East west runner.
East
That's
south.
just-
He's exclusively in
That's
that
his
right
problem.
corner.
Bills
Yeah.
That's the
might be-
problem.
Bills
That's why he
might
didn't
be
do
east
well.
south.
Wants to play half the field.
But he,
New damn compass.
catching balls out of the field. I'm done.
And he's going backwards too.
All right. Fire up the question.
So the conclusion is that the Bills are still able to
Draft a running
Got
back
it.
this year
Yes.
in the 4th or 5th
yes,
round.
please, for the love of God.
4th, 5th, 6th, 7th.
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Irrelevant.
I just think if you just focus on the offensive line this offseason and make it viable, it's a whole different team.
I understand
Because
that.
the
You
running game
still
opens
also
up,
need to have a
and Josh
22-year-old
Allen-
running behind
I
it.
don't disagree.
Okay.
I don't disagree.
Okay.
So.
Maybe Carlos Williams. Kidding.
Yeah, he's around somewhere.
Reinstated.
Reinstated.
Barry Sanders was
Probably
wish him
very
well.
overweight.
Barry Sanders was 30, by the way.
Yeah.
Not relevant to this, but
My question is 6.
6. Pretend that this question was written before the game tonight. Is the Connor Sheary streak for real? What do we think of Connor Sheary next year?
I think so, because I think the difference between what's happening now and what's happening earlier is that he's finding the back of the net. Because you've seen him get the puck in the slot. You've seen him set himself up or be set up with really great scoring chances. And the dude's motor, that he never stopped skating. And I believe that he's going to continue to afford himself these chances. I think the difference is that they're going in now. And I think he's having an okay year. When you're diagnosing players that you're frustrated with or that are the problem, you got to get pretty far down the list to land on him because of what he's doing in his role and how much money he makes. And but I do think it's for real because like I said, I think the simple difference, and granted it's monumental, but the simple difference is the puck is going in when it wasn't before.
he's a good plug-and-play middle six winger.
Yeah, I think
he's
a
never
second or
going to
third
be
liner.
consistent to the point of Skinner, but he's certainly capable of scoring. And like you said, he has a good motor. And
If
will
you
go
did
for
ever
guys.
get that dominant third center, he feels like the perfect wing down there. I think he's okay on the second line. He's a perfect fit on the third line. But a guy that can on a good season get you to 20, somewhere between like 20 to 22.
Yeah.
Right?
And be competent on the power play.
Yep.
Put him on the second unit.
Responsible.
He's going to be,
Nothing tonight, but he certainly, his game's become a little bit more noticeable as he's hit the scorer sheet a little bit more frequently here. All right, that was pretty quick. Let's go to the next one.
Go, Justin.
Justin hits the button, and he comes up with 5.
3 ain't enough.
Should Linus Ullmark move to first goaltender next season?
I think if it's not a back-to-back situation, there's no reason he shouldn't start. I think he's taking it over firmly. I think he looks very confident. You can see there's times where he looks like a rookie, and he's played most of the year very well. But there's times he collapses. He had to collapse tonight, kind of. I think those 2 goals in the second period were saves he could have made, easy saves. But I think he's got a lot of potential, and I think it's definitely a 1A, 1B right now in Buffalo, and I think he's not a 1A in my opinion.
I mean, he was the 1B going into the season.
Yeah,
for sure.
And look, Hutton through December-ish was one of the better goaltenders in the NHL.
Hutton against Tampa and Washington last weekend was very good.
Right. He has flashes still, but overall his game has kind of, I don't want to say collapsed, but he's definitely been struggling. No doubt about that. So to me, you want Ullmark being that guy that you can say, okay, you go take 58 starts this year, something like that. We'll fill in the others around you, and and I'm also curious. Does he have the durability? Does he have? There's a lot of questions that you still want to answer, but I don't know. Ullmark has been something of a bright spot, obviously understanding that he's a goaltender, so he's going to have bad games. Every goaltender has bad games. That's just kind of the reality with the current Sabres. But
the important thing is that
he's
you blame the
looking-
goaltender no matter what happens in front of him. That's the important thing. Is that no matter what happens in front of him with the skaters, you just blame him.
Yep.
That's the takeaway.
It's always the goalie's fault. 100%.
Goalies suck. All right, let's. I'm gonna randomly choose number 18 here because this is our 10th question.
Go for it. What's up, Bill?
Are the Bandits set up for a multi-year run?
Yes. They have
Next question.
Very young offensive core. Fraser, Byrne, Cloutier, McKay. I mean, they have 3 of the top 4 picks in last year's draft, either selected or acquired in the trade that brought Chris Cloutier here. John Tavares is a not young, but a younger coach in the scheme of things, who has a young team playing motivated and together, and provided all the pieces that they've acquired stay together and play together. There is no reason at all that this team cannot be a dominant force for multiple years.
What's the wrench, though, Jeff? Because there is one.
Goaltending, maybe?
Expansion draft.
No, yeah.
Can only protect 5 of those forwards. So you're talking about the young forwards that they have, and they do have a plethora. But now, by expansion rules, they'll lose 2 players, and they are allowed to protect no more than 5 forwards. You can protect as many runners, defensive transition as you want, but the rule is only 5 forwards. So this is a shot in the dark. It's going to be Dane, it's going to be Evans, and then on the left side it's going to be Small,
and Byrne.
It's going to be Byrne, and it's going to be Cloutier. You're not going to let Cloutier go after you just traded for him. So now you have Durston and you have Fraser out there. And I don't want to lose any of these guys. Hogarth, right. And you're going to lose 2 players. So does Chugger pull the strings and control who gets traded? Because he kept Fraser by trading, by giving them, I want to call him Vonage 28, which is his Vaughn Harris.
Yeah.
Right. That was, it's a little kind of like what the Sabres did with Vegas. So I agree with you, because all these guys that we're talking about are super young. And they have a lot of their career in front of them. They have, even Evans is like my age. And
my counter to that
still young.
Is that even if they even with losing 2 of those 8 players, the remaining 6 is still
phenomenal,
incredible.
Yep.
And I said goaltending because I know Vina's a little bit older, not old, but older than some of those guys. You look down towards which of those guys would maybe peak first. Versus all these young 22, 23-year-old forwards that got running around out there.
Yeah, and even defensively, you can't forget McKay and Gilray are very young, and they're
you got Desnew and Brownell back there playing well. I mean, this team should win the championship this year if they continue to play at the rate that they are playing right now, and that's a good time as any. As we're midway through these 20 questions, we have a chance here on the 716 Sports Podcast this week to sit down and talk with Buffalo Bandits face-off specialist and offensive push-up dynamo Chase Fraser, and we will take a moment here and talk to Chase.
Welcome back to the 716 Sports Podcast. We're joined now by Bandits face-off specialist and goal scorer, also big push-up guy, if you guys didn't know. Chase Fraser joins the show. Chase, thanks for giving us some of your time. We appreciate having you on.
Oh, happy to be here.
So I think that's as good as any place to start. This year you've kind of come into a few roles with this team. One obviously being the face-off guy, and people that want to talk about your face-offs. I believe against a guy named Jake Withers, you went something like 13 of 16 in the first half against that guy in Buffalo. So you've made quite a name for yourself on face-offs. Where has that experience come from for you as far as taking draws?
Growing up, I just liked the whole one-on-one thing, right? But growing up, I was taking face-offs through minor. Got to college and decided I could try to take some face-offs in college too. And then went into junior and really started taking them. And then now I'm playing professionally and loving it even more.
And last year, if I remember right, you were not necessarily like the main face-off guy. I know Weiser took some, maybe you took a few. That really is a role that you kind of settled into this year, or am I totally wrong?
You're not completely wrong, but
just mostly,
just a little bit too.
Yeah, I wasn't completely in the lineup at all last year, all the time last year. So that's probably the main reason why I wasn't taking them.
Well, and we know that the NLL, like the era, it's never really existed in the NLL to be a Fogo, but for you have certainly found a scoring touch this year as well. I think one of my favorite goals was the shorthanded goal you scored against Calgary from the restraining line, just letting it rip. But you've shown a nice scoring touch. It's got to be important to not just be a face-off guy. You have to be multi-dimensional. And in an offense that has this much skill and talent, man, you're showing up on the score sheet. That's got to feel good to contribute.
Yeah, it's just the guys around me that are making me that much better, right? So I'm just trying to do what I can do to help the team perform at our best level.
So big differences noticeably on the field from you guys from last year to this year in terms of the offense, how creative you guys have been and how successful you guys have been putting the ball in the back of the net. What has gone into this for you and your teammates out there to really find your groove on offense this year?
We're just having fun playing lacrosse. It's really all I can say about that. We're running the systems that JT's drawing up for us at the timeouts there, and we're running in practice. But the main thing is we're just having fun. We love being around each other, and yeah, it's just great.
I sat in on shoot around in Rochester with you guys, and I didn't even really pay attention. I was talking to Troy the whole time. We were solving the world's problems on the bench, but it just seems loose. It really does. Is that a result of winning? Is that a result of you guys just kind of playing so well and having fun? Because it's not that you guys are not practicing hard. That is not it. It's not that you guys are not taking shoot around seriously. That's not it. It just seems really loose. You guys are having fun even at shoot around, and that seems to be translating to what's happening on the floor.
Yeah, I feel like that's just like a very important thing for honestly any team. If you can have fun while you're doing something you love, right, it just makes it that much more enjoyable for everybody, and just like for everybody around you too. Just make them feel, or give everybody the best experience they can. And, we work hard. We work hard. We have a lot of fun, so we all love it.
Now, the last game out, and we like to talk in sports that every game means the same thing, but I think we would all agree that going into Rochester means a little bit more to you guys. And recent records in Rochester have been not pleasant. But what you guys went in and did there, how good does it feel to go into that building and not just win, but win playing the complete team game that you guys did?
It was an unreal feeling. The environment after the game when we won there, you guys saw the video. It's a party. That's our winning song. That gets everybody fired up. So it's a great atmosphere.
You got to walk me through, because I've been chirping you on Twitter and everything about, well, not necessarily chirping you, more chirping myself about how you can do more push-ups than me. But you score a big goal late. It seemed like maybe I'm way off. Mickey takes the hit, and I wasn't a fan of it because it was from behind, and it was right after he got his jersey held, but we can stick our tongue in our cheek on that one. But Mickey takes the hit, and what it felt like was you guys decided to get even on the scoreboard because the game was still pretty close at that point. And, I'm calling the game, and I noticed that, like, it seems like you guys were playing differently and not more. It seemed like more determination. It was almost like, I don't want to call it revenge, but it seemed like a switch flipped when Mickey took that hit. He seems to be okay, but ultimately, instead of, getting into fights, they were looking for fights at the end. Instead of, mixing it up, you guys decided to just put up 16 on him.
Yeah. We had coming into that, or right when he got hit, we could have got real physical with him and all that, but at the same time, that's not the way the NLL is anymore, right? Like, it's changing. The Bandits have changed. We took it to him on the scoreboard, and we came back with a big grit after he got laid out. I took that a certain way. He's my roommate, right? So I feel like I had a little extra chip on my shoulder to help him out.
So you guys find yourself 9-2 on the year, first place in the East. You've gotten a little bit of help of the teams below you beating each other up a bit, but a big weekend coming up here back to back. Obviously not easy to travel and come back home. So you certainly don't want to look past Philadelphia on Friday. There's a former coach for the Bandits, Darius Kilgore, always said it's tough to beat a team once in this league. It's tougher to beat them twice, and to beat them 3 times is damn near impossible. So now you guys go to try to take on Philly for a 3rd time back in their barn. What can we expect for Friday night? What do you guys think they're gonna bring to the table?
It's gonna be one hell of a game, I'll tell you that. We playing in Philly. I went to school down there actually, so I know how those Philly fans are, and the environment that Wells Fargo, that place brings it's nuts. There's nothing like Bandit Land, though. Ain't nothing like Bandit Land, but it's nuts, and it's going to be a fun, tough battle for both of us. And we got to play one of the best 60 minutes we can put together and come out victorious.
Now, from your side of things, playing back-to-back days, does that change your week at all leading up to games? Does it change how you prepare, knowing you have to have that quick turnaround and be back on the floor here in Buffalo Saturday night?
Not really. We still hit our workouts hard, practice even harder. It's really, maybe we start recovery day a day earlier, I guess. But heading down, playing Friday and Saturday, personally, I don't mind it. I feel we have more advantage on Saturday. Showing up to the rink with sticks already dialed in, but the hard part about it would be getting the jet lag though. But it's only an hour flight though, so we'll be all right.
Yeah, as a whole, it seems teams on the second leg of a back-to-back in the NLL tend to fare pretty well. Like they get the legs under them a little bit, but we also know that this team, as far as I know, when I talk to guys, and with the way you guys are rolling, sometimes bye weeks are not desirable because things are going so well. You guys are in a rhythm. You're in a routine. I know you guys missed some practices because of weather and stuff, so that might maybe make you guys a little more flexible. But did this bye week, did it feel like, were you itching to play? Was it like, man, we got a good thing going here. Let's keep it rolling. Is this bye week something that you guys wish you didn't have?
Yeah, honestly, I wish we would have played this past weekend, but we didn't, and all the other guys really wish we probably could have played too. And then there is some people in the league, some guys that need the time off or would like the time off. So
yeah, all those old guys.
Cater to those too,
not the young bucks like you that do push-ups on the field. You guys are ready to play, but the old guys like me need some time.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we do have some questions from people who sent them in to us here, who were curious to learn more about you.
These are very official questions.
Very, very
and by official.
official.
I mean that they are comments on a Facebook post.
Oh, super official.
Super
That's how
official.
we roll. Do you have a favorite wing place in Buffalo?
A wing place? Not yet. I eat Jets Pizza, and their wings are pretty good all the time.
We're going to edit that out for you.
Ooh.
We're going to save you. Oh, my. We're going to save you that.
Edit that
I
in
mean,
post.
I've been to the Anchor Bar. The Anchor Bar wings are really good.
All right. You just
There you
saved
go.
yourself
That's
a little
better.
bit there. But
Anchor Bar, yeah, there it is.
just so you know, this is unofficial, but Callum Crawford last year played for the Bandits, and they talked about whether you used ranch or blue cheese on wings. And Callum Crawford said he uses sour cream. And I'm not saying it's related, but he got traded. I mean, I'm not going to
Like
go out
within
on
a week.
Yeah, he was all of a sudden shipped off.
Immediately
and
gone.
Evie so I'm just saying, I'm not trying to, I'm just telling you to tread lightly, Chase, because
People take it seriously.
yeah, this is very important.
I don't
okay?
put sour cream on my wings, if that's what you're asking.
No,
Well,
that's good.
But you did say Jets Pizza have pretty good wings, so
Yeah.
we'll forgive
He's
you.
still a step ahead.
Yeah.
How did you go about choosing your jersey number 95?
That's the year I was born. I normally wear number 8. Honestly, just the month I was born.
How much did you offer Brownie for it?
I didn't. There's no way I would have.
He's a doctor. He doesn't need your money.
Yeah, no. Okay, I would love to wear 8, but Brownie's got it. He's a veteran at 95. I feel like I'm pulling it off pretty
All
well.
right. I'll talk to Kevin on Saturday for you.
All right.
All right, we have a couple more here. I know that you room with Mickey. Who are some of your favorite teammates? We know you love everybody, but who are the guys that you get along with and that you who are the bros?
The bros. So I'd say the crew that we live with. So it'd be Mickey, of course, he's my roommate. And we got Dane and Josh in the same apartment we're in. Us 4. We have some fun. We hang out together. We're the boys. And now we got Matt Guillory and Chris Kluche. They moved down here a couple weeks ago, so they're starting to get in with the squad. So we got a pretty 6-man squad that we're all really tight with.
All right, best chirp you've heard, whether it's from a teammate or opposition, best chirp you've heard in the NLL.
The one that I feel like the one that caught me off guard is I got called a prima donna pretty boy last year against Toronto, and like just the way he said it to me, I just like stopped. I was like, holy.
Caught him real deep.
You got me.
You got me there.
Guy sized you up for 3 quarters and waited.
And I have another very important question for you. This is not from the fans. How long have you been a concert pianist?
Oh, what?
How long have you been playing piano?
Oh.
I mean, so 100% true.
You like that video?
I'm not elaborating for the sake of, I'm not exaggerating for the sake of the story. So Josh posted to his story, and I see you play, and then as Mickey stands up and claps for you, and I did not have the sound on. And then I played it again with the sound on and realized just how great you are at playing the piano. So I'm just curious who you learned from and how long you've been playing, because that was phenomenal.
Yeah, I got magic fingers. I got the magic fingers over here. But,
I believe it.
Well, my great-grandmother actually taught me when I was younger, but that was a while ago, so I kind of forgot how to play. But
yeah, I mean,
snapped a couple keys and made Nicky go wild.
Winning face-offs and tickling the ivories. That's Chase Fraser's hashtags.
That's my thing right there.
And one last one we'll leave on this last question from the fans. What do you enjoy? What's your favorite part about being a Bandit and playing here in Buffalo?
All the fans, of course. The support that you guys give us is unreal. The environment in the KeyBank Center, it's nuts. My first game last year, I remember running out when my name got called, and I almost fainted, honestly. I was like, this is nuts, and I'm so happy to be part of this organization.
Well, Chase, it's been a pleasure watching you guys perform so far this year. Not just because you're winning, that's obviously a big part of it. You guys are playing some great lacrosse, and best of luck down the stretch. Good luck Friday in Philly, and I'll see you Saturday at home for that game against Georgia.
Thank you. Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you, Chase. And thanks again to Chase for taking time out of his day to sit down and talk with us here. We appreciate it, and good to get to know one of the rising stars of the NLL here a little bit. And thank you to everyone who sent in your questions to us. We appreciate that and hope that we got them all addressed here for you. The Bandits are at Philadelphia here on Friday and back home in Banditland this Saturday against the Georgia Swarm. And we will have a full recap of both of those games coming back up on next week's podcast. And again, appreciate your feedback and your comments, your questions, and things you'd like to see for future segments here as we continue to bring you coverage of the Buffalo Bandits run atop the Eastern Conference. That's 10 questions down, 10 to go as we move on here in the 716 Sports Podcast. If someone would either assign or select a number for Mr. Babcock.
Justin is going to go to the random number generator machine that we built.
We built this with the help of Google.
Real nice and
Justin
special.
actually knocked over his fence to build it, which I thought was a really nice treat. He didn't have to do that, so that was pretty cool. Number 11.
11.
What team would you move from their current market to a new market in any Big Four sport?
Oh, that's the
floor is
easy.
yours.
That is the easiest call to make ever.
Go ahead.
Why is there a hockey team in Arizona
Where are you
that
moving
nobody
them to?
supports?
Where are you moving them to?
I'll move that. Well, moving them to got to keep them out west without, or else you have to.
Move Detroit back to the Western Conference again.
Right. You have to do something crazy like that. Actually, you know what? Let's move Detroit back to the Western Conference. I don't care about Detroit. I don't like them. I never did. Let's move them to Quebec.
So you got the Yotes to Quebecois.
Yep.
Mon chéri.
Assuming they have an arena ready for them.
They do. They actually have a brand new relatively brand new 15,000 seat arena, which I mean that's what the Jets play in.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, let's also bring back the Nordiques. Let's bring back the name.
Yeah,
Nordiques.
I think the name goes back to like the Jets name came back when they moved back to Winnipeg.
Yeah, you rebrand. I mean, the imagery doesn't have to be the same, but you can
But-
basically rebrand it.
But that team is not supported in Phoenix. I mean, they play outside of Phoenix and
Glendale.
apparently in
Glendale, yeah.
in an inconvenient area in Glendale, like you guys said. And it's just been a burden on the league. They're losing money. They're not supported well enough, and they're just never. How long has it been since they've been competitive?
They're
in a wild card
about to
spot
make
right
the
now.
playoffs.
Yep.
And they made
But
the Western
before-
Conference Final in what 2012,
11.
and then
But other
they
than
lost
that,
to the Blackhawks or the Kings one time.
Yeah.
but other than that, this team,
Other than
they're
that, no, they have
basement
not. I don't
dwellers
think
and-
they've won a series other than that.
I
one
mean,
year.
by that argument, they're better than the Sabres in terms of being competitive recently.
But the Sabres still have enough fans supporting them to justify keeping
give it a
them
couple
here.
more years of us being this bad, and we'll see how season ticket renewals go.
Jeff, you got one.
The Miami Marlins to Montreal.
Fine with that as well.
Bring back the Expos. No one goes to games down there.
Sunbelt to Quebec. Love it. The train continues. Justin, you got one?
I got to stay in hockey and go with the Florida Panthers to anywhere but Florida. I'd probably
they
go to
just travel
Kansas.
to every
Kansas
single-
City wants a team.
Kansas City built an arena on spec
Trying to
like
get the
10 years ago.
trying to get the
and
Penguins.
did not land an NHL or an NBA team.
It's
and they were
east
definitely
enough.
trying. They have the Sprint Center out in
They have the
Kansas City.
one of the best football crowds in terms of noise and attendance for their big major sport.
Yeah.
I would say Kansas City, or another interesting thought. I know they have an AHL team. A market that doesn't have a ton of competition is San Antonio, Texas. They don't have an NFL team.
Yeah, weird.
And they have a basketball
weird market,
arena.
but they do have the basketball, and they have the. Yeah, I mean that is their sport. They also have the Alamo Dome that plays a bowl game.
Right.
And did house the Saints in 2005 for some games.
Completely selfish, and it would never work. Just bring the Clippers back to Buffalo. I'm still a devout Clippers fan because
God, I wish
of
there was
that.
an NBA team.
Yeah,
great.
I'm with
I
you.
really
I've been
do.
to one NBA game in my life in Cleveland. It was unreal. The experience was great, and I would be a part of that for sure.
Yeah. Very good. I guess I should probably contribute something, but
No.
Pass.
I mean, unless you have one.
no, I wrote.
You're
this shit
contributing
already.
questions.
I'm not working about. I just want your guys' opinion. 17.
Yes.
Give me the ingredients of your perfect salad.
Steve.
So first thought is it needs.
Wait.
No, I'm ready.
No, wait.
I'm ready.
I really want Mike to answer this question.
do we have the Mike's Hot Food Takes music somewhere in the annals of this podcast?
Well, I'll find it. We'll put it in. Steve, give me.
I will bow out 100%.
Perfect salad. All right. Lettuce, cheese,
Look out.
scrap.
What kind of cheese?
Just give me that give me either mozzarella.
American?
No,
Okay.
not American.
JK.
What
JK.
the
JK.
hell?
LOL.
What is this? Mighty Taco?
Got it.
Stopping at Mighty on the way home.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's throw some ham in there, some bacon, some ranch.
Lettuce, cheese, ham, bacon, ranch. Okay.
That sounds. Let's add some sliced some carrots in there. Let's add something a little bit
You
healthy.
want like
in there.
matchstick or how are we doing this?
Like the grated.
Okay. So matchstick. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And you're good.
Yeah. I'm happy.
G2G.
I gotta
Good
start.
stuff.
So I can't just say lettuce. It's got to be spring mix for me,
Oh, no.
or 50-50.
I
I'll
agree.
take the spinach in there as well
Yeah.
because I'm not about to.
iceberg lettuce.
Iceberg
You're
lettuce,
overly
the biggest
complicated.
pile
No,
of trash I've ever seen.
I'm high fiving Bill on that because
Water-
that's the most true
water.
thing you've
Just
ever
drink
spoken.
water.
Yeah, it has no flavor, and I actually don't like it. And
No,
I know
spring-
it's strange because it's saying it has no
I-
flavor.
but
We
I-
should like it, but
I
it tastes like
100%
shit.
agree.
So bring on the spring
Spring
mix or 50-50.
I can do
Wait,
pumpkin
what's a
spinach,
salad?
too.
Sunflower kernels. Big fan of sunflower kernels in there. Yeah, mild cheddar cheese, 100% mild cheddar. Bacon bits, absolutely. Croutons are essential in Italian.
Oh yeah, I
Gotta
forgot
get your
croutons.
Italian
too.
dressing.
Gotta get your croots in there.
Yeah, Italian croutons, Italian dressing.
Justin, you're really excited to hear sunflower kernels.
That's an MVP of salad.
I put sunflower kernels in every salad I have.
so good.
I do eat salads sometimes. I've gotten back on a salad wagon lately.
Okay.
I gotta go romaine lettuce or Boston leaf
I
lettuce.
mean, it's okay.
but I got
It's not iceberg.
I gotta go. The general. I just said lettuce.
See, I don't care what kind of lettuce I have. I really
Gotta
don't.
have avocados.
Okay.
Gotta have
Gotta
chicken.
get your healthy fats.
Gotta have
get your
sunflower
lean
seeds.
proteins.
Gotta have avocados.
Yep. More avocado.
Cilantro is very underrated in salads.
This is fancy.
And yet
salad.
another avocado.
And
This is fancy salad.
diced red onions.
Diced red onion.
Yes. And Italian or
Sir, we only have purple onion. Is that acceptable?
It's the
Just
same
throw
thing.
the tray on. Is it?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Look at onion guy over here.
I'm a simple salad guy. Just some lettuce, a little bit of cheese. I do like carrot in my salad.
Yeah.
Croutons, and then either Italian or ranch, depending on what I'm feeling.
The fact that no one has said tomatoes makes my day because tomatoes can
hate tomatoes.
GTFO.
Tomatoes fucking suck.
Yeah,
Spring
get
mix,
them out.
feta cheese,
Yeah.
That is good.
Croutes,
Ooh.
chicks,
I forgot gorgonzola.
Oh yeah, chickpeas are clutch.
balsamic.
I like balsamic.
Balsamic's the answer.
I forgot-
Chickpeas was
I
clutch, Bill.
forgot gorgonzola.
Yeah.
No, I actually meant chicken, but chicks, CHIX.
I gotcha. The
Chick-
chickpeas are in mine too.
Chicks.
Late edition.
And at this point, we're doing other questions. You just start picking them.
Oh, man.
You want me to just go keep?
Yeah, we
going?
got 8 left.
All right.
Go for it.
Need the list?
Nope, I got them right here.
This is
We're gonna go to
Justin.
question 7. I still want Justin to keep track of these. LOL Columbus, right? So is Columbus going to destroy anybody trying to make a run if they have free agents to be at this point, or is this just kind of an isolated incident?
What's the question?
LOL Columbus, right?
Columbus not doing very well since not trading off anybody and acquiring. The
I brought
world.
this up during the deadline show. Does this hurt the locker room? You've essentially, it's a cult. It's a huge shock to that room, bringing all those players.
They've gotten 1 point of their last 4, and they've dropped to they dropped out of the playoffs, and they're now out of the playoff picture currently.
I brought this up. You guys all disagree with me, and it's happened. You brought in this team, built something together all year long, and they totally just like brought in all these outsiders. Sure, they're very skilled. They look great on paper. Don't look good as a team. They're all learning each other. I think it's a huge shock to the locker room, huge culture shock. And there's guys in the room that aren't playing now who are pissed off. Their friends are angry. There's a big part of sports that is very psychological.
They have a game in hand on Montreal, but they are 2 points behind the Canadiens for the second wild card currently. Philly 3 behind them, but they've also played one.
The team of 8 goaltenders and that furry orange mascot will
that
not
beautiful
die.
little boy. Is John Tortorella a good coach?
And is Yarmo going to be fired?
I think Kikalainen's gone.
Yeah.
I don't know how many more years you can let him just float somewhere between 4th and 9th in the Eastern Conference without actually winning a playoff series.
I think Torts is a good coach. Wherever he goes, teams whip into shape.
Yep.
I think the GM goes for doing what he did. I understand what he did, but I don't like it. You get your team. You like your team. You add a couple pieces.
Had a bad situation because you have 2 guys that you know are walking out the court, and he's trying. Like, I know what you're saying with the team. I think he could have either sold off Panarin and Bobrovsky somewhere and tried to get something where the return probably was not going to be immediately helpful to the team this year. He's not going to get NHL ready guys that are coming back in their stay, and you still need to have the ammo to try and go get Duchesne. So, and the other guy. So,
Dzingel.
Thank you.
Zingle. Yeah.
So,
They flew together. That's
they
great.
did. So, it is funny if Matt Duchesne ends up on another crappy last place team because after this season,
Well, the real kicker would be if Ottawa becomes good in a couple of years because Colorado became good pretty much immediately after he left.
Well, Ottawa fans really excited for that draft lottery coming up here in a couple months.
I think
I'm sure they're gonna be great.
Panarin
Rooting
would've
against
gotten
their
them-
own pick, weirdly.
I think Panarin would have gotten them a haul. Even as a rental, I think he would have gotten them a haul.
Bobrovsky, not really.
Right.
I agree. Panarin was the guy, and maybe you could have just swapped out a Panarin for Duchesne and gotten one of those guys out there. I don't know. It's not going real well for them right now. We'll check in. They're certainly not out of it, but it's not.
If they don't
a
make the
great situation
playoffs
for them.
and end up losing all those assets that they traded,
because they gave
and
up their
Panarin
first round,
and Panarin
right?
and Bobrovsky walk. They have
They have
a third and a seventh.
That's it.
That's it.
Whew, not going to be great in Lake Erie for a few years.
No.
Sorry, Cleveland Monsters.
The Gulf of Cleveland.
The Gulf of Cleveland. Beautiful. Fiery. Go Tribe.
Good job.
Question number 12. Was Dan Bilesma better than Phil Housley? About the same number of games.
Trick question. Was Ron Ralston better than both of them? Yes. Bilesma had nothing to work with. It doesn't matter. I mean, you could.
It doesn't matter.
Both of them were.
I'm just asking the
yeah,
question.
no, I know.
Sorry.
I don't. I think he was a little bit, but I mean, it's so negligible to me. You have Bylsma of the even like changing lines every game and wondering why nothing builds together versus on one side of it. You have Housley who wants to take out a good defenseman who had one bad game at the age of 18 and make them watch from the press box and keep Sobotka in the lineup for continuity's sake, it feels like at this point. On the other side of it, there's a happy medium between the two of them, which is where you want to be. And both of them are, you have crazy left wing of it, Dan Bylsma, and then crazy right wing of it, Phil Housley, who, and somewhere in the middle is a coach who can actually develop both the veterans and the younger players. But the answer is clearly Ron Rolston.
If Toronto wasn't open and hadn't won, and Mike Babcock comes to Buffalo, is Mike Babcock still the coach in Buffalo?
I think so.
Seems reasonable to say, right? I don't know.
With this team
we've
he
never
has
seen
right now,
any coaching stability.
Man, I don't know.
You had Lindy Ruff here for what, 17, 18 seasons, and now there's been no continuity in the coach. Not that continuity. If continuity is shitty, then you shouldn't have it. But it's an interesting what if.
If Bylsma is that good, why is he not coaching somewhere? That's my thought to this too.
He is an assistant somewhere, though, right?
Not that I know of.
He's an assistant in Detroit.
Is he?
I believe he's the lead.
Yes, they gave him I gave him one of those welcome things when I was in the Detroit game. And
that's
welcome.
Right. Yeah, welcome back.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think Bylsma was better. He had less to work with. The team was better point wise.
Let's go, Dan.
This sounds way better. I do this with this microphone.
There you go.
Got to eat it. Anyways, I forgot what I was saying now.
Perfect ingredient for a salad.
Yeah, put a little microphone covering. But the things Phil Housley does are super questionable. Like every game watching, what is he doing? And at least you see Bylsma made better decisions with the team and better roster choices and adjustments in game. I think a lot of things Housley does are very questionable. I didn't question Bylsma very much outside of his crazy line swapping,
which was a hallmark of his.
Yeah, but I think Housley does it.
His reign became defined by the instability.
Housley does it too, but I think to a worse extent, maybe.
I tend to agree with you. Question 19: what NFL Combine event would you excel at?
This mine?
That's Mike's.
Oh.
None of them.
Fair enough. You're not a 3-cone guy?
Nope. I'm not fast. I don't look good with my shirt off.
Well, that's not a requirement for most
Agree
of them,
to
be
disagree. Yeah.
I would really excel at the cool down portion.
Yeah. It's getting soaked.
Maybe the interviews or
yeah, you could be Rich Eisen.
Like after your Monday meeting performance, I don't think it'd be good at an interview.
Oh no.
Well, I'm talking about they interview me, not me interview them. Plus, I'd schedule it for about noon or 1 or something later in the day.
The NFL team's being completely understanding. It's like, oh, that's fine. We'll do it after lunch.
Well, games are at 1, so
give me the 40-yard dash, because if I'm hearing this question as what would I be like best at or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not that I'd probably be 12 seconds or so, but I am at this point in my life a very good start and stop athlete. I'm overweight and I'm fat but if you need me to run, if you need me to run a basketball court 100 times, I can do that. If you need me to run 100 yards, it's not happening. So I think in the 40-yard dash, that would probably be something that I could actually.
How? Seriously, how?
What do you mean?
How does that happen? How can you run a basketball court 100 times, but if you
because
had
it's
to run
start
100...
and stop, it's not the consistency. Like I can run down the floor, play an offensive set, stop, take a shot,
run that pick and roll.
It's shorter distances.
You
run X amount of steps, then you stop and you you jog around a little bit.
12-footer.
Yeah.
I always tell people I could play basketball for like 6 hours straight.
Throw the sky hook from the paint.
I could play basketball for 6 hours straight. I can't run for 6 minutes right now. There's just no way. There's no way.
Can I give background on the Monday story?
No.
No, just
it's irrelevant to this entire podcast.
I thought it was funny.
I think it's perfect the way it was left.
I don't know what I would be good at, if anything. I could run a decent 40, but certainly not like good athlete 40.
Yeah.
Maybe a vertical, just because being taller, I have a bit of a head start. I have a decent vertical.
Is that what you refer
No,
to
you
it
don't
as?
have a head
Your
start
height?
just
Yeah,
because
a head start.
taller.
A head start.
I'd be good at the scouting part.
Different weather up there.
Yeah.
I'll be looking for the concession stands.
I think they're open now. People love oil too, so is that Lucas?
When I was in school, I used to love the old 3-cone.
Yeah.
Yeah. my favorite.
Your jam?
I used to be a track guy when I was in high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When I was a sprinter, I used to do
There's
the
a
40.
fun fact I would not have expected.
I used to do
to
the 40 and the 100.
Okay.
And I was pretty quick in the day.
I'm wondering if I could do a better 3-cone than DK Metcalf. I feel like I am as mobile as Tom Brady.
Not out of the realm.
We're going to try it, and I'm going to film it.
Oh, absolutely. Stay tuned for the
Stay
Podvine,
tuned.
folks.
Yes. Question 9. How many current Bills end up on the Wall of Fame? Kyle Williams doesn't count. He's retired now.
0. Nobody.
Yeah, I think that's right. You know what? Let's go.
Colton Schmidt.
No, for the sake of it, let's the first name that comes to mind because this is Tremaine Edmonds.
Okay.
What if he is the physical freak and the prowess that he has? Middle linebacker is a showy position.
Sure.
Like, and if
Yeah,
he
you're gonna make a lot of
performs,
tackles, you're
if
gonna
he
make a lot of-
performs well for 15 years, sure, give me Tremaine Edmonds.
I think there will be one, and it's probably going to be someone we are not currently thinking about. There could be some new guy, recent pick. It could be Trey White, for all we know, who's had a couple very good. If he has a career at
What
the
does
level
he have
that he
to
has
do
played,
to get up there, though? Because
just play to this level,
okay,
Yeah.
and continue to play.
I mean,
'Cause,
that
like,
was
is Winfield or Clemens up there?
I
Clemens
don't
is,
believe
right?
either one
No?
of them.
So that's what I
neither
mean,
of them
like-
are up there.
Yeah.
But
I-
also, they weren't lifelong Bills. We
no,
don't think
and
about them.
and
the
that's
same
part
way.
of it too. And that's why, honestly,
That's why we love Kyle.
In my head, the 3 guys I was thinking of were Tre'Davious White,
3.
Tremaine Edmonds,
And Josh Allen.
Because if they are successful at what they do, I don't think Lorenzo Alexander is going to play long enough to get it. Kyle Williams will go up.
Yeah. And if Lorenzo was a Bill 5 years earlier, I think he'd be up there too.
If Josh Allen takes this team to the playoffs 3 years in a row, they're putting him up while he's still playing. Like,
Yeah, no,
they're still going to be playing.
not even anything to laugh at.
Dude at halftime.
First active. I mean,
100%.
yeah, no, it would absolutely happen. The 2 guys that I would have said 2 years ago were Eric Wood and Kyle Williams. And I do think both of those guys are going to go up there. I don't. There's not that guy right now. So, but those 3 guys I mentioned, because they're young, if they do, heaven forbid, sign a second contract in Buffalo to play and are successful, it sure would be nice.
Do Terry and Kim Pagula count?
No.
They're not on the
I
roster.
don't think they would put themselves up there, would they?
Well, they wouldn't have to put themselves up there.
I think after they're not with the team, they could go up there for saving the franchise in Buffalo.
If
true.
they just owned the team and someday moved on to the great football field in the sky
Farm
like
in
Ralph
Elma?
did, they could be up there. The
Go to
farm in Elma.
There's Fred Jackson just running around. All right. Next question. What is the one improvement? You only get one to make a KeyBank Center. And what's the one improvement? You only get one to make a new airfield.
Better fucking teams.
Perfectly acceptable answer. I was thinking the scoreboard at KeyBank Center, but also
It's related. Improve what's on the scoreboard.
I get jealous when I look at was it Cleveland has that one that's like literally the length of the Cavs court.
Yeah.
There's a couple
I
others
love
too.
the scoreboard at the Jake so much.
Yeah, it's
just
so
so great.
big.
Actually, as of right now,
Yeah.
we're going to do a show next week about Sabres game presentation with Chris Ostrander.
Oh,
Good old 2 in the box.
breaking news!
Confirmed today. Well, half confirmed.
You
But,
replied to your tweet.
DM. Slid into the DMs.
Hitting them up in the DMs.
Kidding, of
I've been
course.
to a couple of arenas and places around. I've been to the Prudential Center where the Devils play, and then I've been to many Jays games. And one of the things that I really like is the open concourse. And I don't know how you do this, like to renovate a stadium, but you can be in line waiting for a beverage and turn around and see
and
the game
actually see
behind
it
you.
happening. So I know that at it may be a little bit tougher. What is it now called? State Farm Arena in Atlanta, which was Phillips Arena, had a very unique setup where the entire one side was all of the skyboxes on one wall, and they completely gutted it and changed it and opened up all the concourses. So now you can see. So I think it's more likely that you could do it. The problem is well, it's not a problem. I don't know where the Sabres could play. There's no real spot for them to play. You couldn't put them at Harbor Center or something like that, or they'd have to play a whole bunch of road games at the beginning. But it would be great if there was some way to open up KeyBank Center.
It's just nice when you're like in line at the Prudential Center or
Yeah, and
running
you
to the
can see-
bathroom.
yeah, no, I agree.
And it's pillars instead of walls.
Yeah.
And I know the Minnesota Wild have that as well.
Mhm.
The
Blue Jackets have it.
Yeah, so you
Yep.
can be in the concourse and see the rink. And
The Rockets arena, the Houston arena, Toyota Center, they have this. Those were all built around the same time. They all kind of have the similar, like the pillars in the corner.
Yeah. I go to way more Sabres games than I do to Bills games, so
Yeah.
I don't have as much to say about New Era Field. But the big one, and Justin and I talked about this when we went to that Sabres game recently, is dedicating 7 minutes at the second intermission to the godforsaken floss cam needs to stop, and it needs to stop immediately. Because if they think that's what people interested in sitting in their seats, boy howdy, are they incorrect.
You don't have a 7-year-old male that you're
That-
toting
that-
around to games.
that
Just
is
let me tell you
correct.
something. It sells to the intended audience. Let me say that. I agree, but we
just find things to do, like find interesting things to do. Like I don't even care if they do that occasionally or do it for a little bit.
Yeah.
But just like find things to do between intermissions.
My
like,
biggest thing right now is the scoreboard, because once Toronto upgraded theirs when they changed the
Did you see
arena
the one
name.
that Philly's putting in?
No.
Looks ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's the point. Just wow me with television above me.
Mine might be too broad.
You said the teams earlier, so this would probably be more specific.
Well, maybe it was lead it the precursor to next week, but just make it more of an event.
Yeah.
I feel like it's every time you go to a game, it's kind of like, okay, we're here doing this now because we have to, and it's the same
It's an
song.
We're
obligation.
emotionally required to.
It's the same song and dance every time. Nothing changes.
It's very repetitive. It is very repetitive. We have 3 questions left.
So
Let's get the depressing one out of the way.
hell
first.
yeah.
How many top 4 defensemen for the 2019-2020 Sabres are currently on the team?
1.
Who?
Rasmus Dahlin.
You think everybody else?
Well,
is
no,
going?
it's 2 now with the trade. I think Montour's another one.
So you got Dahlin, Montour, Bogosian not a top 6, or not a top 4? Or
Well, and just to be clear, Montour's
Now-
been on the third pair officially.
Do I think that they should be or that they will be? I guess is the question.
just how many?
How many?
Put it this way. Let's say opening night where everybody's healthy.
All of them are currently on this team. I don't think they make any big changes like that. Your top 4 next year are Dahlin, Bogosian, Risto, and Montour.
What year? Next year?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Risto's gone
I
just
agree with
because
you. I think Ristol.
just because he's the most tradable, the most valuable you're going to get in the market. I don't think they should trade him. I think they should acquire someone else so he doesn't play as much. I think he's a good defenseman playing with a shitty defenseman. Scandella makes it much worse, and he's there to anchor Scandella, and Scandella's anchoring him down.
And even if they do trade Risto, the guy becomes Nelson or a Scandella or McCabe.
I mean, they make him. Borgen is playing well down there. Nelson makes Risto tradable. Players make players available. Like Dahlin makes Gooley tradable. I think Risto is the most easy to get rid of and the easiest to trade, and they're going to get the best value back for him. And they need skilled forwards, and teams need top
Still
defense.
makes sense with Tampa. Tampa is in salary cap hell, and to get rid of 1 or 2 of their guys that are overpaid but would also be immediate.
Alex Killorn.
Killorn, Miller, Johnson, I think, has a no
I don't-
move clause.
I don't want Johnson or Miller, honestly. I like Killorn, though.
Maybe they'll trade Kucherov.
I think Killorn's
maybe.
actually got a no trade too. They had.
They have to win
I
the
was
cup
looking
this
at
year.
Sport Track and Spot Track, and they had like I think 23 guys committed and were within $5 million of the cap ceiling. I mean, they got to do some major gymnastics to get close to the ceiling, or to get close to not going over. 2 more questions. What's the best macro beer? We're always talking micro. I like macro. I like Molson regular. Which I understand for most of the country is not, but I would consider Molson and Labatt's to be macro.
Yeah, it
here.
is for here.
Yeah, it is.
Right? So I like Molson regular. Whenever I see it, that's the
Those
one
are
that I
just
always
like
get.
Canadian versions of Budweiser.
Right. I don't know.
I think Sam Oktoberfest. Right,
Yeah,
is
too
that not-
specific.
Too specific.
Go broader.
Sure, then I'll go Yingling.
Okay.
Yingling's good. I love
Yeah.
Yingling.
Yingling's good.
Yingling or Guinness. It was between Yingling and Guinness for me.
Yingling or a good Labatt Blue.
Steve and
for me.
I should go out drinking beers together because
That's our
that
flavor
was our.
profiles.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got to go with the beer of the blue collar worker with the blue ribbon,
PBR.
Pabst Blue Ribbon.
I had 2 PBRs bowling today, 100%.
Good for you. I like that.
The People's Beer. Wait, 1896, I believe. blue medal still going. That blue ribbon.
Actually, 1896 is the cost of a 30 rack of it, which is why it's so good.
Get that hashtag value. Final question for tonight. What's the best handout you've ever received at a sporting event?
I got it. My Dominic Hasek bobblehead.
That's a good one.
That is a good
That
one.
was a great bobblehead.
Mm-hmm.
I
have two if someone wants one.
For a small fee.
Small fee.
I have a couple, just to jog your memory. The first time, you remember when Thundersticks were a thing?
Oh, yeah.
I went to a Rockets game, a New Jersey Nets Houston Rockets game in 2007.
Kenyon Martin.
And we were on the floor. We were visiting my grandparents, and we got those. So those were fun to bang at a game. I'm not going to lie. Like, who was it? The Angels were the original, right?
Yep, the Angels World Series team.
So that was kind of cool.
You mentioned banging at a game. I thought talking about a Bills game for a second.
Yeah.
Not in the stadium, just in the parking lot.
Yeah. The Thurman Thomas, and I think they did it for Bruce Smith too, but I went to the game right around Halloween where Thurman Thomas retired the number. Very cool presentation. We all got like a little cutout, I would call it, with Thomas's number and jersey, and then all of his.
It's like
accolades.
a towel that's cut into the shape of a jersey.
Yeah, I also have the Winter Classic jersey from last year. I mean, I think it's the same mold.
I didn't get it. I was there and I didn't get it.
Yeah, you should have grabbed it. But then my actual answer is, in 2015, the Indians revealed their Larry Doby statue, and I got a replica Larry Doby statue that sits on my desk at work to this day. So that would be my answer.
I don't know if I've gotten too much. I have. I didn't go to the game, but both my parents did and gave me one of theirs. The banner from the Hasek banner night.
That's a good
So
one.
I have one of those. I have a Corey Kluber bobblehead from Corey Kluber bobblehead day at the Jake a couple of years ago, and a couple other things that I got from working games, but not as a fan. That I feel that's a different category.
That's a little
altogether.
bit different. Yeah, I would agree with that because I remember getting some stuff in college for working like A10 tournaments and the like. So
did Justin just go grab his top?
He found it.
Welcome to Pominville. Population
even set up.
1,000.
Yeah.
When'd you get that?
The game that they drubbed Ottawa 7-2 or whatever, because we went to that game.
Yeah, Pominville 1,000 game ceremony. I got two of them. I got to send one to somebody in Czech Republic.
You still haven't done that?
No.
That game was in November.
Yeah, well,
You're gonna get around on that.
It'll happen.
He told him that it's shipping. It's going across
Are
the.
you signing the one that you just threw at my feet?
He actually just addressed it. Went to he went to like the Hudson Harbor, addressed it, and just dropped it in the water. He's like, it's on its way.
Over there.
He'll get it. I haven't intended it for a reason. I'll send it over there.
I can't wait.
That the game that's the one
For
threw
you
that
to send
Ottawa
a
jersey on the ice.
Non-flexible
Yes.
sign to the Czech Republic. That's pretty cool. Don't they call it Chechnya now or something? They did a name change.
Chechnya.
It's like the new Daniel Bryan.
Can't figure out this microphone. Now I got it.
Simon
Gotta figure it out again.
Where did the end?
So that's 20 questions. We're done.
I like that.
That was
That
awesome.
was fun.
We've been talking
fun.
about doing that for a while and finally executed it. So
All it took was the Sabres being not worth talking about.
Yep. It took 10 minutes to work on a break just being like,
To be
well,
fair, the Penguins game was a fun game to watch.
Penguins
It
game
was.
was fun.
The overtime was very fun.
Great against the Penguins and Capitals recently.
Yep.
Everything
Bad against
else,
the Leafs.
But
and
not against Toronto.
bad against the Oilers, but only in the second period.
I'm excited for our weekly road game in Toronto next week.
Yup.
That was dumb. 5 days apart. Doing that Monday and a Saturday. That seemed weird to me. Not a fan of that.
And they've been played all season. And they're just like,
Yeah, they're cramming.
They played one other time, right? And then they're
played
coming
once
here.
in like December.
That crazy
and then-
overtime
They
game
did
that
that-
Matthews scored.
And
They
then
did
remember
that a
the
couple
year
years ago, too.
Yeah,
You
I
remember
don't
the
know
year
why
that they you played each team in your division 8 times or whatever it was? So
that was the year that you
Sabres,
That was a
played the
bunch
West,
of
right?
the
years.
Sabres played Boston like
Yeah.
8 times in a year, and like 6 of them were in March or something. It was crazy.
Yeah, that was a bunch of years when they had
You didn't
3
play every
divisions.
team home and away. You played.
You did not play the
you
opposite
played
conference all home and away.
Correct. You played them each once, whether it was home or away. Was
Yeah, they kind of figured out, but we should just abolish conferences in general in all sports.
and I don't think I like the wild card format right now either.
Nope.
Just to be clear.
Just one. They
a
should
lot
just
of-
do 1 through 16. Straight across.
Well, the
It's the
NHL
easiest
used
way
to be
to-
the NHL used to be 1 through 12 in the playoff seedings. Back when it was like 18
They
teams
should
or
go
whatever.
back to that because
Yep.
that was the better way to do
These
it.
are 2 conferences. The best.
I like
8
1 through
teams
8.
each
I'm with
conference
you.
make 'em.
I'm with you.
But if you want to do conferences, you don't have to be beholden to geography. Like, you should have 16 once Seattle comes in, have 16 teams, but you can do like 8 teams in the current Eastern Conference and 8 teams in the current Western Conference and have them be conference. Like, what's the difference?
Right.
I just think I know it's a travel thing. It's 2019.
Not even travel. I think it's more fairness of schedule. It was they try to.
Well,
it's
and
not-
it's realignment. This realignment
I
takes
think it's
like
2 things. It's encouraging fans in the same time zone to always watch their team, because how many 10 o'clock Sabres games do I zone out in the second period, fall asleep on my couch? It happens.
Right.
If they played twice as many games in California, I'd watch
But
X amount
you got
less.
16 teams that are in the Eastern time zone, and
Yeah.
then you have 16 teams that are in this,
and
in
you're
the
all
Central
and then
or
you're
Mountain
increasing
or
the amount
Pacific.
of times that those fans are not able to travel to a game, or increasing jet lag for players. I think there's a lot of logistical reasons why.
Here's what you do. I got the perfect system. You got 32 teams next coming up, right?
Yep.
2 years from now.
You shorten the season to 64 games, play every team twice, and you add a round of playoffs.
Well,
it'd have to be
that'd be
62 games because you can't play yourself.
Math is awesome.
You work at an engineering company, right?
I don't engineer.
There's a reason.
I often go, hey, engineer, help me. Not me, actually.
Kiss the not engineer. Yeah. I mean, besides that horrible gaffe, yeah, I like that idea. Home and away. But the problem is that the owners will never, because the teams that don't make the playoffs don't want to lose 10 more gates. That's the issue. It's dumb,
Well,
but that's I'm telling you,
get a
that's
team
what
on
the
the
issue is. Yeah, take that, Ottawa.
And the thing is,
Well, it's not even just the teams that don't make. The teams that do make it and sell out every game don't want to lose 10 gates.
Sure.
Right. Eugene Melnick is in the Canadian Horse Racing Hall of Fame, which I think is a pretty cool stat. And he also has like a fake liver because he almost stroked out that one time.
Did the liver come from a horse?
I have to
Since he's
go
in the
back and
Horse
check on
Racing
that,
Hall of
but
Fame?
Let's say yes for now, and
All right.
I'll fact check
How
that
many
later.
stomachs does a cow have?
Just one. But they have so much heart and grit.
How many livers does Eugene Melnick have?
6 to filter all the bullshit. All right. We good?
We have a couple very quick last
Go
things
ahead.
before.
Yes, go ahead. I forgot.
Before I would be remiss if we didn't talk about it. So congratulations to our friends at the University of Buffalo ice hockey team,
Yes.
who with their victory yesterday have clinched their second consecutive conference championship,
Going to the
their second
Nationals.
consecutive conference tournament championship, and will be going to the men's Division I ACHA National Championships in Dallas, Texas. We do plan on probably talking to Coach Jeremy Kirsten on the podcast next week, so stay tuned for that. Because it's a club sport and it's not Division I, there is not school funding. It is not some big thing. The players fundraise and pay and all that stuff to get ice time, get equipment, jerseys. It's not the NHL. There is something on their Twitter that if anyone is interested in donating to help them afford to travel to nationals, because this is not something that the school's going to write them a blank check for. We would encourage anyone who is interested to check out the UB Ice Hockey Twitter. There's a great group of kids who I am privileged to have worked with for these past 3 years, and they have a chance to make some real noise this year. They haven't been ranked, but they've been beating ranked teams, and I think they could easily steal some games down there once they get down to nationals. And again, Buttes play home playoff game Saturday night at 7:30 against the Boston Pride, and you can be there in person, buy your tickets. If you can't be there, Justin and I will be broadcasting that game for you on the internet.
Yep, it'll be fun.
Great. Anything else, gentlemen? I think that's all I had.
That's all I got.
Cool. You can find us on Facebook at 716 Sports Podcast or on Twitter at 716 Sport Podcast. You can like, share, and subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, whatever device, your Samsung smart fridge, whatever the hell you're listening to us on. Just let us know what you think. Share it with your friends and tell us what you think. We'll be back here with another new podcast next Monday, and thank you for listening. Good night.